Hey guys,
Hey y'all.
we're back.
Oh, it looked like Instagram might be working now. Hold on.
Let's see.
Let's see. We got a check mark over here.
So excited.
It say a check mark, but I don't know. I hope y'all didn't go nowhere.
No, I don't see it.
It's not live?
Mm-mm.
Okay. So Instagram, in fact, is not live.
Okay.
It says it is, but we're going to go live on Instagram. Come on back in, y'all. Come on back in.
Hey y'all, it's Saturday
It's Saturday.
and we are ready.
Add title. Okay, so let's do this. I don't want to miss y'all comments. Okay, checking my connection. I hope my connection is good. Hey y'all! Now it's 67 people on Instagram. We got 5 on Facebook and YouTube right now. But y'all come in. This is a quick check-in for the book club. We weren't able to go live last week, and so we wanted to make sure that we went live this week. But we're not gonna elaborate. So last month we read Relational Intelligence by Dr. Darius Daniels. Hi, Stephanie. We read Relational Intelligence. Good evening, good evening.
Hi.
And each week, Elder Jamise and I went live to discuss the book in excessive detail, right? Like we went chapter by chapter, almost line by line. This month, we're doing something a little bit different, almost intentionally, but not quite. So when we had our first will service February 5th, hey Ronald, Pastor Joel preached soul work, right? And that was a lead in, kind of like a button up and a lead in to our next book, which this month we're reading How's Your Soul by Pastor Judah Smith. And it's a phenomenal book, guys. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I fell a little bit behind last week, okay? Just a little bit behind. And I know that's natural, that's normal, and that's why I'm sharing it, because some of you may not have been on the wagon with us to start, or you may have fallen off and just like, I'm not gonna participate at all. No, stay on, keep reading. I've since caught back up, but in the middle of catching back up, we are both in the middle of moving. So you probably hear like an echo. That's because it's nothing in my apartment right now, okay? But we wanted to still come on and go live and check in, touch on some points within the book that really, I guess, spoke to us. And we still have one more live this month, which is going to be next Friday, the 24th. So we still have one more live. We'll have all the pretty background and we'll sit and talk and dialogue. But this month really just kind of gave you a precursor to the balance of the year. The goal of the book club wasn't to hold your hand and babysit. It was to reignite your passion to even read in the first place. I used to love to read all the time, and I stopped. I just, life happens, you get busy, you stop reading. And so I wanted to make sure that not just me, but anybody like me had an opportunity to read. And that's why signups for the book club are open all year long. They never close. You can do whatever, jump on whenever you want to jump on, read whatever you want to read, when you want to read it. I love to read. I do too, Sapphire. I do too. Let's see, who else is in here? I think I saw Valencia. Hey, Anthony.
Okay, so y'all gonna realize that
we're twins.
We're twins, kind of.
Did y'all know that? We're twins. We have different parents, but we're twins.
But we might say the same thing a couple of times. But yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up my notes from what is it?
That?
I don't know what emoji that is, Mary Antoinette Martin. I'm sorry. But yeah, okay, so, and this will stay up. So just so you guys know, we're talking about How's Your Soul with Pastor Judah Smith, right? We're just going to touch on it. So this book pretty much goes, Lord, I should just go back to the introduction. because the introduction had so many nuggets.
I think so far, I love the entire book. I think I'm halfway through at this point. But when I tell you the introduction for me had all of the nuggets,
Yeah,
like
like,
it had everything,
look
like
at my highlights,
highlights
y'all.
galore.
This is the first page of the introduction,
It
okay?
is.
Just so y'all
So,
know.
highlights.
So, what Pastor Judah Smith touches on is basically
The inner me.
the inner me, yeah.
The inner me.
Checking in with yourself. And it's a great segue from relational intelligence, because relational intelligence kind of had you look inward on what you needed out of other people. But this book has you focus on what you need from yourself, or what you need for yourself. And it talks about friendship a little bit in here, when it says, you know, if your soul can't handle certain things, you know, you just kind of need to reevaluate and, you know, keep on working, right? So go ahead, Ray.
Well, I think one of the first things that really caught my eye is vulnerability. He
Mhm.
really touches on how vulnerability is scary, but it's a necessity. Like,
Yeah.
you have to be vulnerable, you have to be open, you have to be transparent in a way to begin to do the soul work, the inner
Right.
work that you really need to do for yourself. So I literally highlighted vulnerability is scary. It feels safer to be superficial.
Mhm.
And I said, why is vulnerability so scary? Like, why do we feel like when you hear, I need to be vulnerable,
Mhm.
it's like I don't want to do that.
I think that goes into a little bit, well, a lot of bit of relational intelligence when it said, you know, you're vulnerable in front of those that you can trust. And so I think vulnerability becomes scary when, I think it's only scary when you really don't trust the person that people are telling you to be vulnerable with. Like, I don't have a problem being vulnerable with Raina. Raina has seen me at some of my worst moments. This is my best friend, by the way, guys,
Yeah.
and also the volunteer coordinator for the Wheel. So if you want to volunteer with the Wheel, we'll drop the information.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I feel like if I'm vulnerable with you, I might not be vulnerable with someone I just met a few weeks ago. Yes, I would be afraid to be vulnerable because I don't know their backstory. Are they trustworthy? Are other people vulnerable with them? Like, are they vulnerable? But it also touches on what Pastor preached about at our first service of the year when he said, in order to develop friendships and be a true friend, you have to be open and vulnerable. He talked about David and, Lord Jesus, Jonathan, and how Jonathan opened himself up to be vulnerable. He took off his clothes and said, hey, yo, like, I love you and I want you to wear what I wear. That's how much I love you. Like, you're my friend. And so I feel like when it's the right person, there is no scariness attached to it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Maybe, do you have another opinion?
Well, I feel like, so vulnerability, right? You want to be able to trust the person. Like, you know, you don't want to be open and vulnerable with just anybody. But is there a level? It's a challenge. You know, I love a good devil's advocate, but is there something to being that vulnerable in public and open with someone that might be able to make a connection with someone new, someone who isn't used to being vulnerable, but is afraid, or, you know, and they see you be it. So then the impact that you can have on somebody else by opening up the depths of who you are, so they can just see that maybe being vulnerable is not as bad as I think it is. And somebody said past hurt. Yes, your past really does shape your present and your future sometimes, and past hurt will keep you from wanting to express yourself or trusting people with some of your deepest, darkest secrets. And friendship is one of the big things that you really should have. And I think it was Sapphire, that I think you said in a previous one, you know, that you're developing friendships. And I think that's something that you should look for, is, you know, somebody that you can be open and vulnerable with, but you kind of also have to be vulnerable to make a new friend. You have to be open to that type of relationship.
One thing that he says in the book is that fulfillment in life comes from having a healthy soul. So when you know who you are, whose you are, my dad used to always say that. When you know who you are and whose you are, and you're fulfilled in you, then you feel fulfilled. Like, you know, like, you don't walk around seeking the attention or what's it called? Acceptance of others.
For validation.
Validation. That's
Yeah,
the word I was
that's a
looking
good
for. You're not necessarily looking for validation because you're fulfilled. You know who you are. Your soul is clean. Your intentions are pure, and things like that. And so I think that point really, stuck out to me in the book.
Well, and I think, we go through life, and one thing he touches about is like you go through these seasons of life where things are just bad. Like, whether you've lost a job, lost a loved one, your kids are crazy, something's going on in the world. But he brought it back to like, God wants to bless you. God wants you to have health. He wants your inner you. I know, right?
Pastor
Winfield, hi. But he's very intentional about the inner you. And we spend so much time on the outer us that we never spend any time on the inner us. And this is just a shell of what's really on the inside. So I think in this book, what he touches on is what God really wants for us. And that is the inner to be healthy.
I think you made a really good point. We spend a lot of time on the outside and not on the inside. And I think that a lot of times life will force us to look at the inside. Like, I don't consider myself a superficial person at all. And I hope none of y'all on here that know me don't think that. But I do want to look good. I do, I'm going to dress nice. My mother always told me, if your hair is done, you good. Yeah. Like, don't leave the house with your hair undone and in a bonnet and all of that kind of stuff. But no shade to those who may currently have a bonnet on in public. But I think for me, and you guys know, I've talked about it before, when my dad passed, it forced me to see me a little differently, because there were a bunch of things that I felt like I still hadn't done with him or for him to make him proud. And now here I am, like, oh, okay, so was I doing that for me or was I doing that for dad?
Yeah.
And so that really has opened me up to checking my soul. Now, I've read this book before. Like, before today, my dad was alive though. What was that, 5, 6?
Yeah, when we first read it.
6 years ago that we first read this book, and it still hit then, but I think now it hits a little differently, because it's like, no, seriously, how is my soul?
Yeah.
Because part of me feels like my soul is broken because of loss since the last time I read it. So, it's like, let me really do the work on the inside, and
and I think a good part of this, and we can tie just a very smidget of grief into this. So she's 2 years into,
or a headscarf. I know that's right, Sapphire.
She's 2 years into her grief after losing her dad, and she's doing the soul work. And I am not even 2 months yet into my grieving of my father. And I am reading this and I'm like, this sounds good. Like, I want to do this, but it's important to realize I'm not in the same place as her. So me wanting to do soul work or not wanting to do the soul work because I'm still in so much of the pain is normal. So,
that is so normal.
you're not always in a season to be able to effectively work on your soul and really focus on the inner you, because it's going to bring a lot of pain and it's going to bring a lot of devastation at some point. So
sometimes you just want to be upset. You want to be mad. You want to be sad. You want to, like, sometimes you do. There are preachers who will say everything I'm saying is wrong. You shouldn't be angry with God. I don't think that's realistic. It's just not. And so sometimes the inside work never really stops as a part of our life journey. It really, really is. And so even though I'm doing work now, that's not to say 4 or 5 years from now, something else may prick my soul or my spirit, and I'm just like, I'm gonna have to start this all over again. Now, I'm not saying I gotta read this book over and over, but it is a good reminder, like, okay, what did I get out of it last time? And that's the whole purpose of this book club, is to get something out of it that you can take with you as you move forward. Something's gonna stick. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead, Ray. I know you had another note.
I'm all about the internal today. So he made a note that says, thinking that internal happiness will come from external success is not, it won't equate. So you will disappoint yourself because you think that all of the external things that you are doing, like getting a promotion, getting that job, getting married, having kids, is going to fix whatever internally is going wrong. And that's not true. So it's still tying to a little bit what we were just talking about. And so when you're doing this work, Judah goes in, Pastor Judah really goes in depth on what is the inside. Like, your external success is great. We are so happy when those things happen. But is that really impacting us? And then what happens when I do get the job promotion and I still feel the exact same way? So that means that wasn't on the inside of me, that inner health. I wasn't healthy. I was just doing that to put a Band-Aid on top of a gunshot wound of pain that I need to still address to make sure I'm healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, and we're not going to be on here long, guys. We just kind of want to give you the nuggets and the tidbits why you should read this book, right? So I do want to touch on, he has a chapter called, well, I don't know if it's a chapter or part of a chapter. It's called Enjoy the Trees. And he talks about God's creation of earth and things like that, and the environment that he had, that he created for Adam and Eve was a garden, right? He dropped them dead smack in the middle of a garden that was beautiful. It had fruit, like they could do whatever they wanted to with only one restriction, right? And this segment of the chapter talks about the fact that God wasn't just putting them in a garden just to put them in a garden, but it was a message saying, hey, y'all need rest, y'all need relaxation, enjoy the view, you need peace, pleasure, things like that. Like, your soul needs that relaxation. So when people say, I need to go sit in front of some water, or I need, go to the woods, whatever your relaxation is, that's not just an unction that you feel. God embedded that, I believe, in all of us at some point, where it's just like your body starts to tell you, your soul, dare I say, starts to tell you, like, okay, I need to sit down. I need to, pull myself together, do something that's restful. But he has a point here. It says a restless soul is a soul that thinks it's in control and needs to take care of everything. If I can just testify, that's me. That's me. If we do not rest, we are trying to be our own God. Gut punch. Right. Like, what? We have to remember that even when we rest, God does not. When we sleep, God does not. And when we cease working, God does not. That's a gut punch for me, because I am like, I got to get this done. Like, I got to make sure this is done. I got to make sure this is done. I got to make sure this is done. And I'm not going to go to sleep until it's done. But one thing I always get on her about is, if you don't show up to work today, if you died in a car crash tomorrow, they are going to hire someone else to do what you do.
I mean, I'm a workaholic, and so is she to a certain extent.
I am.
But y'all, if y'all workaholics, please save me in the comments.
I'm a workaholic, but that's the reality. If I don't do this right now, is somebody gonna die?
It's a valid question. That is a valid. I mean, and the answer is no.
The answer is usually no, unless you're a surgeon. Ignore that statement, unless you're literally out there saving lives. Yeah. But a surgeon, first responder, anything like that. But if what you're doing is not good, like, if it can wait, if it's 5:00 and you're home and you're clocked out and you need to have that separation between work and home, when you step over the threshold of that door, if what you do is not going to inadvertently kill somebody, just take it. Rest your soul.
And so it's funny that she read that, because I literally have the next one that says, God will help you. Mm-hmm. He'll give you rest. He'll guide you into appropriate responsibilities. He'll surround you with safe restraints. He'll provide relationships that fit, and friends who will help navigate the twists and turns and ups and downs of life. Mm-hmm. So it kind of goes back to relational intelligence again. There's a lot in solid friendships. There's a lot that you can gain. There's a lot of balance. There's support. There's strength that you will get out of solid relationships, that God ordained relationships, not just you going out and finding a friend because you said you need a friend, but real God ordained relationships where you guys connect and you can be vulnerable. You can trust. They can help you have boundaries and help guide you through some of the tough times. And sometimes they've gone through things that you will soon go through, and they will be there to guide you. So having that balance, resting, listening to your body, and listening to God, because there's some things he's going to put in your way that he's going to force you to sit down.
That's for sure. Okay, that's for sure. I want to touch on this, and then we're going to jump off and really, really encourage you guys to get the book. We're going to dive a little deeper next week. Well, Friday. This coming Friday, before our next service, which is March 5th at 5:00 p.m. at the Potter's House of Dallas. And don't forget, I'll come back to that. I want to talk about, he gives us points for the elements of developing a healthy soul, I guess you could say. And he said, you need to develop a healthy soul environment. So that's not just doing the inner work at home and saying, oh, I'm going to work on my soul. Who are you around? Who are you entertaining regularly? Is your work environment toxic to your soul? And for instance, that could be, okay, you might be a recovering alcoholic, but you just got a job working in a restaurant that sells alcohol. It might not be the smartest decision for your healthy soul environment, right? So you have to make sure you're conscious of the things that could potentially trigger, and I hate that word, but things that trigger a toxic soul environment that keeps pulling you back in the direction that you're trying to move away from, right? He said one of the things that will help is finding responsibility. When he placed Adam and Eve in the garden, he said, till the ground, take care of the animals, all of that kind of stuff. Like, he gave them responsibility. This garden is yours. Make sure you keep it looking like you want it to look, like I gave it to you, right? And so when you find, it says your soul finds fulfillment, health, and life when you live beyond yourself. So when you develop a responsibility to take something, and I know I just said if what you do is not going to kill somebody, take a break, but that's still a part of it. I'm fulfilled in what I do. I love administration. I love branding and marketing. 100% fulfilled. Like, it's great. Sometimes I can feel like, am I doing enough? Like, do I need to take on more work? At some point, I need to, all right, close your computer. You're done for the day. Like, don't respond to another email. Yeah. At other points, though, this is bigger than me. Like, I made sure so-and-so got this. I made sure so-and-so got that. And then to see everything come to life on the big screen, so to speak, it's like, yo, that's what's up. Like, my soul is happy. Like, I did it. It's a combination. You have to find something. I was on a live stream with Pastor J.J. Harrison and his wife. And one thing he said was, he doesn't believe in balance. He said he believes in harmony and what was the other word? It's not coming to me. You're good I'm very good for my last email. But he said to balance something means that something has to weigh more than the other. Something's always, the scale literally goes like this. So he said you have to work in tandem. Harmony, if you think about it from the context of an orchestra, you need a little bit of drum, a little snare, you need a little, whatever over here, strings and all of that. It all works together to create harmony so it sounds good. Nothing can be louder than the other, because then it's like, ooh, what they doing? And we're all good for that, right? Even in church, it's like they need to turn that amp down. Like, we're good for that. So I think finding that harmony, I have to get out of the habit of saying balance. I say balance all the time. Yeah. Finding that harmony between resting as well as being fulfilled in what you do that you may need to take rest from, I think is really, really important for your soul work.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I know we are in this season in like every corporate America or any work industry where you have work-life balance. Mm-hmm. But in reality, that's not a real thing. If I could just call a spade, there is no such thing as work-life balance.
No, there is no such thing as work-life balance.
But it's really finding the give and take. Like she said, harmony is a beautiful word. I never thought of it like that, but it's a give and take. Like some days I can give everything to my 9 to 5, and some days I won't be able to give everything to my business. Some days I need to give everything to my business. So I need to figure out how to balance or have harmony.
Harmony.
That's such a hard
I'm
word
trying to
get
think of
rid
the other word Pastor JJ used, and when it comes to me, I'm gonna just drop it in these comments because
Yeah.
he used another word, but that's that's the point.
When I think harmony, I think of peace.
Yeah,
And
think of the analogy of singing. You have sopranos, altos, and tenors.
Mm-hmm.
If the altos are too loud and you can't hear the sopranos, you feel like something is missing.
Very true. I'm not a singer,
and vice versa. But you've been around me long enough.
I know, yeah.
To know, like, if you don't hear the sopranos, you just like, come on, where they know that?
Yeah.
So it's like everything has to balance and mix well, so that it's not, verbally pleasing, aesthetically pleasing, all of that, but it doesn't work if you use balance. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because there's a scale. If you use balance, something is always going to be at a deficit.
Yeah, always.
But if you have harmony, and the other word, I know there's another word.
There is another word. I promise y'all, next week I'm gonna remember this word, and y'all gonna be like, "What are they talking about?" I'm gonna remember this word.
But when you have that harmony, you don't feel like something is lacking.
Right.
And that is something that gives anxiety, that gives you, you're not sleeping at night, all of that. And then you're not at peace and your soul is disturbed. And it's all of this ties in at the end of the day.
I think the last piece that he talks about as far as developing a healthy soul environment is finding restraint. That is, so it all works together.
Yeah.
Like me closing my computer, it takes a lot of restraint for me, because I'm like, okay, I can just do one more thing. I can just send this one last email and then I'll be done. So I think, and we could touch on restraint more next week, but rest, responsibility, and restraint. I encourage you guys to really get this book, dive in.
Somebody asked what it was. It is How's Your Soul by Judah Smith. Sorry, that was a couple minutes ago, but How's Your Soul by Pastor Judah Smith.
Yes.
You can get it
everywhere. Amazon Kindle, audiobook, Nook, iTunes.
Yeah.
Barnes and Noble, if you need a hard copy. I'm not sure if it's at Target, but it might be. Oh, it's not.
I looked for you guys. No, it's not.
It could be at somebody else's Target.
Yeah, look on the app. If you don't have a Target app.
Right. So yeah, we're gonna dive in more next week, but we did want to hop on and have this conversation and jog your memory if you forgot that we are reading in the month of February. How's Your Soul by Pastor Judah Smith.
Do we want to take one question?
Yeah, we can take a question. If y'all drop a question while I'm making these quick announcements. March 3rd is the Will You Network, right? We are networking amongst ourselves and amongst others. It's really open. It's not just a Potter's House event. You are open to come. It is a registration required event. And so you can follow the link in any of our bios or on our page. It's really easy, thepottershouse.org/Will You Network. And I'm gonna type it in here. Forgive me for being ghetto, but thepottershouse.org/Will You Network.
If you've registered, put it in the comments. We want to know if you'll be there.
We really, really, really want y'all to come. Oh, let me put it on Instagram because StreamYard.
Didn't get over here yet.
.org/Will You Network. It is limited availability, guys. So with that, I'll just say we're pretty close to the number the pastor has kind of wanted to cap it. So I really suggest that y'all follow the link in our bio, follow the link. I dropped it in the comments. It posted on Facebook. Yeah, we really, really, really want you all to come out, network amongst yourselves, bring your business cards if you have them. If you don't and you have a digital tap, make sure that's activated and up to date. However you want people to contact you, bring your elevator pitch. You're going to make connections in a room full of entrepreneurs, business people. There'll be vendors on site and things like that. So we want to make sure that you're there and you're registered. Following that is going to be Sunday. You're in NYC Sapphire. That's okay. You can fly out, sis.
For the next one.
But you can come for the next one. Sunday, March 5th at 5 p.m., the Potter's House of Dallas is our next Will service. We invite you to come. Please invite a friend. Come join us. Every Wednesday morning, we have prayer. We fast from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We want you to jump on prayer, all 3 networks, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Oh no, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Jump on all 3 networks for prayer. We have our small groups coming up next Thursday. So signups close on Monday. We want to make sure that you're signed up. Again, follow the link in our bio. Go to solo.to/thewheel@tph. solo.to/thewheel@tph. You'll find all of the links there. You'll find our calendar of events, everything that's going on for the wheel. Come on, ILS. I know that's right. You're going to see us there. So if you see us, stop us, okay? You got to speak. Did any questions come through?
I don't think so. So I think we're golden.
Let's see. Any questions?
We'll give you literally 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
Maybe 15 because it takes a lot of time.
15. 14. Oh, my fiance is here, y'all. Hey, babe. So yeah, that's it. That's all we have for y'all tonight. We have to finish moving. Listen, we got to be out of our apartment by Monday. Okay, we got a lot of stuff. All right. So again, that's why y'all hear the echo. But I feel like it's something to this because my internet was working with nothing in this apartment. So we might have been on. Oh, okay. Right. Well, we're gonna sign off. All right, no problem, Miss Mary. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for joining. We'll leave this up. We're so sorry that it was, a little shorter and condensed, but we will be back next Friday at, was it 6 p.m. or 7 p.m.? 6 p.m. I don't remember. I think it's 6 p.m. We'll make sure we post about it. We'll post about it. Make sure you guys tune in, read, catch up with us. That will be the last touch point for the book until March 5th for our service. So you have a little extra time before the 5th to get it finished. All right. We love y'all. We signing out. Bye.